What's up, guys? It's Ever That Child Gamer. Welcome to another episode of Beyond You. Yes, there is a new version of Beyond You now finally out. I don't remember exactly what they said is new in this, but I think they said Day 2 is released, which could end up being good news for us because that means we have more to play now. Once again, most likely the beginning of the story might be the same. Whether I decide to skip ahead or not will be, decided in the editing or decision-making later on, but for right now, I am just going to start from the beginning because that's where we were last time, because I want to make sure we don't get any new, thing and skip over it on accident. Of course, I just reinstalled over the other files, so I still have all these, but not going to use them, that's for sure. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and start into this. Do you want to see... Ooh, this is already new stuff, see? We can't, skip this stuff. It's very important. Do you want to see content warnings? Sure. Hello. Not all these triggers mentioned will appear in all playthroughs, however, Beyond You may include the following subject matter in some way. Mental health issues, like personal image, development issues, etc. Home abuse, neglect, self-harm, cruelty, death, murder, physical assault. Wow, this game has changed. Physical abuse, substance abuse, smoking, drinking, victim blaming, blood, suicide, contemplation, depression, anxiety. Wow, there's a lot of stuff. I'm not going to go through all this stuff, but that's a lot of stuff. Oh, this, I don't know if this is all in Day 2 or if it's like changed so that Day 1 has some of this stuff too, but this could be interesting. While this list is not comprehensive, it is an attempt to encompass anything that may cause concern for those playing this game. We have attempted to make these choices with careful consideration to the narrative, and we are happy to take on the critiques or feedback if anything feels mismanaged. Please contact us at that email. Cool. Are you happy to continue? No. Yes, I'm just kidding. Hello, lovelies. We're at the start of the new adventure. Yes, unfortunately, people reported a lot of bugs with the tech demo. We already read this. As such, we have to strip back and rewrite it. All this fun stuff. This is all the same. You may stand a chance. All this is the same. All of this is the same, so I can just skip over this. That's cool. Okay, all above enjoys made for you. Now we're gonna type in our name, spell it right this time. Devin, yay. Excuse me, Devin? Ooh, interesting. I don't know who this is, but apparently I recognized her in the game. A girl approached me, same year, and I recognized her. Hey, Aila? Aila? Is that how it's pronounced? I don't know. I don't know these names. But that's a new name now I have to remember now. I remember all the other 4 girls, but now I have to remember her name. Hey, Aila. Well, Haruka was my only friend at school. Aila was well, I'm not sure what we are, but we're on good terms. She was too busy with being class president in her study. So this is basically like Monica. This is like the Monica of freaking Beyond You. She was too busy with being class president in her studies, and we fought over that often. She's the closest thing I had to competition for a top student, and that was enough to put an end to us. She's quiet, right now anyway, but she's rarely quiet for long. I need to talk to you. We're talking right now, aren't we? Privately. She sounded nervous when she clarified she wanted to speak in private. Before I can answer either way, she grabbed me by the hand. I'm not particularly short or tall, but until I met Yumi, Aila was the tallest girl I'd ever met. She pulls up my hand with ease, given she does sports. This is definitely Monica. She does sport alongside her studies. I don't know how she has the time. This is so Monica, in a nutshell. Aila seemed to have somewhere in mind, though she didn't say as much. Instead, we rushed towards the school and ran to the closest building. Ooh. This is the library. I've played mods of Doki Doki with the library. This is so... And again, this is not me trying to, call the creator out on... it's not me calling out on artwork and stuff that's not theirs. All these pictures, you wouldn't be seeing them on screen if they weren't free to use. And I'm almost certain that he credits the person in the credits. So I'm not going to say much on this, but I remember this being the library that I believe, it's not Summertime Library, but it was a mod that I played. I don't believe it was on the channel, but it was a mod I indeed played. and it was probably a good mod. I mean, it's got great, artwork, so it can't not be a good mod. And this, I love how I can, like, see pictures and stuff. It all ties together. The library. It was ghostly quiet, without the usual rustle of papers and the clack of keyboards. No one was in here. Not much for use of the library, given it was after hours and only the second day classes. Besides, most people use the internet. I stepped further inside, gawking at the eerie quiet of the disused library. The air was stale and still. I haven't seen you in ages. Not since last year. You could have visited. And you could have visited me. That's not what I need to talk to you about. I don't want to fight. I actually had a favor I wanted to ask of you. A favor? This is important, and it has to stay between us, okay? Just say what you need, Aila. Being cryptic doesn't help your case. It's about Minami School, the fire more specifically. Ooh, this is new stuff. This is definitely new stuff. I stare at Aila, unsure what she could possibly mean, or rather what she wanted from me. I've been asked to keep an eye on some of the girls that have been from that school. I'm sorry, the ones you partnered with. I know their school burned down, yeah, but why keep an eye on them? There's more to it. I just don't know if I can tell you about it. Well, I can. Aila heaved a sigh, more relaxed now that we were alone. It started during the holidays. I was given the role of class president. She flashed a hand towards her chest and at the pin on her blazer. I'm sorry. It was unsure of how her role as class president affected the fire, but I listened. It affected the fire, just like it affected things to go wrong in Doki Doki Literature Club. I swear, just being president carries through like all these different stories, and it always seems to lead to problems. Like, what the hell? Stop being president of things. Life will be so much easier. I crossed my arms over my chest and tipped my head. I was asked to come to the campus this week before school started. I thought it was about my duties to the school, or maybe they wanted to take photos. I scoffed, unable to keep that quiet. She smiled, in spite of herself. They do that for the purpose of staff or the yearbook. In any case, it was a private concern by someone within the school. They were worried about the students who transferred here. Not all of them, and to be honest, I think it's just paranoia. They think one of the girls started the fire at the school. Ooh. More specifically, they believe Kana was responsible. They don't have any proof of this, just speculation. Kana. Ooh. She was probably the last person I would have suspected to have done it. And if she did do it, oh my lord. I narrowed my eyes at Aila, unsure of what to even ask of her. Kana had seemed the most upset about the school burning down, as did Aiko. Kana was seen talking to herself often in the strange parts of the school. She's not hurt anyone as they know of, but she's been put into therapy multiple times since childhood. I wave a hand at Aila, my defenses raised. Just because someone goes to therapy does not mean they're a danger to anyone. I'm just telling you what they told me for the sake of context. What I wanted to ask you is if you'd be able to work more closely with Kana. So keep an eye on her. For me? Oh no. I want to work with Haruka! I don't want to work with Kana! You can't do this to me! Aiko was a top student like us. She had been no reason to attack the school. You'd be surprised! As for Yumi, she's not smart enough to pull something like that off. I don't want to say that. She's gotten this far through her sports achievements. She'd be the first to admit that. What they tell me in any case. That's what they told me in any case. Why not have Haruka keep an eye on her? She's in a group with her too. You really think Haruka could be trusted with something like this? She'd probably lie and say that they all did it. That's not wrong. That's probably what happened. Aila huffed out, her bangs ruffling with a whoosh of air. Besides, when has Haruka ever listened to me? She's never liked me, not since you and I, Look, I wouldn't ask you to do this if it wasn't important, and like I said, chances are that that's not even true. But I'm working with someone else. Then change. I don't care how you do it. Make it happen. Once they find out who the culprit was, you can change back. But for now, this is beyond me or you, and you need to understand that. Just think about it. You want to keep Haruka safe, don't you? Do the right thing. Oh no! I don't like this anymore. I don't want to change. But it's like if I don't change, I might put Haruka in danger. And if I do change, I'm not working with Haruka, and that's going to make her sad again. It's like, what do I do? That's the big question. I don't know. This is like the same thing that's kind of... This didn't happen in Doki Doki because everything would lead to one thing. So it's like I had no problem doing like one or the other thing. Oh, but freaking having to actually choose now. I'll check in with you to see what you find out. And feel free to text me should we do coffee again soon. That's more threatening than anything else. I feel weird not acknowledging that we've gone on a few dates, but we both got too busy with school for that. She danced around it, but it was one kiss question mark? Two? Excuse me. It felt so long ago, and I'm not about to chase her down. I don't want to do this anymore. Seems I have plenty of plate already. Yeah, no shit. And why would that duty fall on me? To be honest, it almost sounded like Aila was jealous. She'd ended up in the other science class. What if she's trying to split us? What if she did it? What if she did it and she's trying to split me and Haruka apart now? What if she's working with Mr. Saito? What if he's also behind this bullshit? There's so many questions that's aroused my curiosity. It's like, whoa! all because of that one little story. And it's like, wow, so much has just been revealed. Okay. If they wanted Aila to keep an eye on Kana, they would have put them into the same. Wouldn't they put them in the same class? And she expected me to drop whoever I was working with for Kana, or she made Kana out to be an arsonist. Either way you cut it, it didn't sound that reliable, and it seemed like something the police would handle, not me. The afternoon was beginning to creep over the city, and I needed to find Haruka. If she waited, that is. There you are, Devin. I thought you died or something. I had to laugh at her hyperbole, even if it felt rough after my conversation with Aila. You never would have guessed You never guess who I just saw run past. Little Miss Prissy, why isn't everything perfect? Oh, Aila. Yep. Haruka had popped the pee a little too hard, spitting on me with the process. She failed to notice even as I wiped my face. I never did get why you liked her. I guess she's tall and pretty and smart and smells nice, but like, what else? I narrowed my eyes at Haruka, who raised her eyebrows. What did she want? Yeah, she wanted to catch me up with whatever she did over the holidays. And she couldn't do that here while you waited for me? I shrugged and felt intimidate relief when Haruka shrugged it off. I'm sorry. I'll just add her to my list. List of girls trying to steal you away from me? Wasn't she the first one on that list? No, that was Sakura, in 8th grade. She stole my seat next to you and spent the whole class throwing candy at your desk, which got you in trouble for the candy and me in trouble for allegedly punching her. That's funny. Good Haruka. Haruka had the nerve to say allegedly when everyone had seen her sucker punch Haruka so hard in the nose and her nose bled. Saruka and Haruka had a history of tension though. Sakura tended to pick on Haruka as she always responded. Haruka had zero cool about the things she went through. Some would say that she was passionate, but they were generous. Can we go now? We'll be here all night if we don't get going. Sure. Cool. I can't believe you remember who had a crush on me first. Oh, she wasn't first, but she was first on my list. That's very dramatic. I don't know, people just seem to like you, Devin. And my list got a whole lot bigger since yesterday. Haruka split off... Ooh. The music. Haruka split off down the street as she lived a few houses down. It was why she always collected me instead of backtracking to our house, plus her dad hated me, which left me home alone. I was used to it. My parents both worked and were inconsistent with their hours. I'd deal with dinner later. It wasn't so scary now, being home alone. I used to hate it. The only thing I had to be afraid of is Haruka showing up out of the blue, but she stopped doing that. I kicked off my shoes before I went further into the house. As my conversation with Aila resurfaced in my mind, my appetite went away altogether. I think it'd be best to ignore whatever Aila was talking about, right? What else could I do? I'm not about to pick apart the girls, and it sounded as if Aila had only heard about them. I would have noticed if something was off, wouldn't I? Plus, I'm not a police officer. I'm not going to be able to crack the case. I rolled my shoulder until I feel a pop. I had some history homework to do, but little interest in the beginning. Usually I got home much earlier, but my time with Aila had really taken away my afternoon. I'm surprised Haruka even waited for me, but then again, she knows I wouldn't leave without her. It's sweet of her to have stayed, even we both know she's never in a rush to go home anyway. I look at my bed, severely tempted to call it a day. Ooh, got a text. A message? Is it just me, or was today a waste of time? Nah, it sucked for sure. It was, uneventful, certainly. Not what I expected for our final year class, to say the year. A final year class, say the least.
Even she thinks it's a waste of time. The nerd can't even handle it.
It was nice to work with Haruka, though.
Well, duh, we are best friends.
I don't know why she puts a question mark after everything. I let my computer sit idle as I unpacked my bag. With no appetite and no interest in homework, I have few options. Binge watch something or sleep early. I guess I'll risk it and just put something on. If I pass out, I pass out. With that, I changed into my pajamas and curled up in bed. I angled my laptop to watch from my bed and curled up into a ball. So, is it me or is me in game letting their grade slip at the second class into the school year by not doing history homework? That's funny. It's funny how it's like, oh, I'm such the A+ student. I'm very smart. I don't feel like doing history homework. I'm just going to go binge watch TV. It didn't take long for me to fall asleep even my hectic day with obligations overhead. Homework was a future me problem. This was me in real life. I always put things off to the last minute. I slept terribly again. It'd been harder to sleep. It's like I can't switch my brain off while I'm asleep. At least I woke up to sunlight, and just before my alarm, I tapped on my phone to turn off the buzzer before it went off. I sat up, rubbing at my sleep-ridden eyes, tired but awake enough to recognize that my chances of becoming a rogue agent were done for. I never skipped a class, not unless I was sick or excused by one of my parents. Haruka, her parents really didn't care about much of her attendance. Her dad didn't, anyway. Strange thought to have as I stirred. That's not a sentence. Plodding off to get ready for the day ahead. Aside from the history homework I pushed aside, my coursework was under control. Given that science had been such a breeze, homework-wise, it'd be easy to stay on top of the stuff. Oh, okay, so they're not slacking off, I guess. Which still left me uneasy, but Haruka seemed to have adjusted to the other girls. I grabbed my backpack and headed for the front door, pleased I was so ahead of schedule. But before all times Haruka burst in with too much energy, she didn't turn up early today, of course. The one time I've been ready for her to get here, and she's late. I check on the time on my phone and look to the door again, unsure of what to make of her absence. Ooh, that's not okay. I don't like absence of people. The one time I've been ready for her to get here, she's late. I checked the time on my phone to look at the door again, unsure what to make of her absence. Was she sick? I waited for as long as I was able to, mindful that she could have gone early to save hassling me. Sometimes she did go to school early to run the track, or I heaved a sigh, sending a quick text to her, asking if she was okay. Then I took the plunge, nerves building in my stomach. The last time she said not to come to school had been pretty bad. Maybe this was good. Haruka and I can get a little too dependent on one another sometimes. It's good to have space, not to be dependent. I shouldn't need her around, and she shouldn't need me around. Though I'm not sure who needs me more or who the most. I never see Haruka talking to other people. Don't tell me she's not going to show up today, and that'll force me to have to work with Kana. That's not okay. I don't like when my decisions aren't made for me. I had enough of that in Doki Doki Literature Club. Does she even have many other friends, or am I her only friend? And wait, is she my only friend? No, there's Aila and the other girls in science. This is good. Then why does it feel so awful? I sighed heavily, kicking at a rock along the roadside. I needed to stop focusing on Haruka for now. She would be at school, probably just forgetting to see me before she walked the rest of the way. I shouldn't make out to be worse than it actually is. I had classes to think about and plenty of new people to talk to. If I focused too much on Haruka, I'd worry, and it'd be worse for both of us. Instead, I need to make sure I'm ready for class and ready to deal with those girls from Minami. There were only a few students smiling around outside the school, and I could see a few smoking by the corner of the campus. I avoided eye contact as they shot me looks my way. I charged forward into the school grounds, not eager to get into a fight with others. That was more Aila's job, maybe even Aiko's, not that I'd ever seen her get mad. I wonder what Kana and Yumi would say about such a thing. The truth was, I hardly knew those girls still. Haruka would have obnoxiously coughed in their direction and flipped them off. It wasn't surprising that she got into a lot of fights. I don't know who's more in the right there, though. First class is a study period. Really? I hadn't checked my timetable too thoroughly, though it didn't matter. Even though it's one of those classes one could skip, they still took attendance. Some people studied while others goofed around. Haruka didn't turn up for homeroom, though maybe she turned up even earlier than me. And I didn't actually know what the class the other girls were in. The question was, how would I use my time? Study the library, check the track, hide in the stairwell, or get some food? Good question. I don't know what I want to do. This is a very good question that has aroused questions. Good questions that arouse questions. Devin, you nailed that sentence. You know that? Why would I hide? What would we be hiding from? I'm gonna say check the track field. She might be there. Maybe I was right about Haruka being at the track field, Only one way to find out. Oh, I remember this track field. This is the one that they used in the first version of the game, where she was trying to hide the girls. The track field was set next to the bleachers. A fence kept the field separate from the rest of the campus. I approached, my eyes settled on the runners I could see. A few students sped around the field dressed for PE, though strangely I saw Haruka in her uniform seated on the outskirts of the field. Her hair was freshly washed and a duffel bag sat next to her. She looked, what'd that say? She looked exhausted. There you are! Devin, I told you I was coming in early today. I did tell you, didn't I? Oh no, I didn't, did I? She turned with, owlishly wide eyes. Her mouth popped open as I approached. No, you didn't. I agreed to help pick new recruits to track team this year. Tryouts were this morning. It means extra credit, but I'm so dumb. She slapped her hand against her forehead, hard enough that I heard the impact. I forgot to tell you. I caught her wrist before she could smack her head again, taking a seat beside her on the bench. She flinched harder than I expected, and the winch lingered in her expression. She brushed it off when she saw me staring. She smiled like soap and deodorant. She smelled like soap and deodorant, which was familiar in that she traded often. It varied. Sometimes she wasn't feeling like trading. Her dad didn't let it sit for long, though. You wanted to do extra credit work. She nodded enthusiastically. You know I love running. Yeah, but getting up that early? Her expression faltered, and she shrugged away to the topic. I needed to talk to you anyway. I would hope so. She snorted, ugly and loud, her smile spit even wider. Yeah, well, it's about Minami. You wouldn't believe how much I've heard about Minami already. She looked over her shoulder, what is that even? I can't talk right now. I'm so tired. And then back to me. She took my wrist in her hand and yanked me to my feet. It took a little coaxing for me to follow her under her bleachers. Her two wide eyes, and gentle smile, and invitation in itself. She licked her lips and drew open her duffel bag, which she then let fall to the floor. In her hand was her phone, which had been switched off. She turned it back on and frowned as several vibrations went off. When will the boys stop texting me, huh? She giggled softly as she thumbed through her phone. I waited patiently, leaning against the metal. We hung out there plenty of times between her track meets after school. It almost felt like our spot. I could see the little heart she'd drawn with her name and a boy she liked. And no, I wasn't the boy she liked. I could have sworn that I feel like that's changed over time, though. Honestly, the way she treats us and the way she acts around us, I feel like it's changed. I'm pretty sure if it's whatever boy that was, she probably don't like him anymore, and she's probably switched on to another specific person. Not according to the heart, anyway. It took some simple joy from how she'd scribbled out his name. The boy had called her weird and torn up the handmade card in front of her. And I narrowly avoided the suspension on the grounds of self-defense. I don't remember much from that incident. I do know that I hate seeing Haruka hurt by anyone. So, Haruka held her phone aloft for me to look at. Suspected arson at Minami School. So, oh no! This is the story again! Haruka scoffed loudly from the back of her throat, and empathetically zoomed on the article. As she turned to the phone back, it locked. I tried not to laugh as she let out a sound of frustration, shaking her phone, as if it could feel its punishment or something. Here! Haruka shifted to line herself up against me, her arm against mine. She leaned her cheek against my shoulder. It says that it was a wiring fault, but if that was the case, the school would have been closed. Like, no way they're gonna keep it open if it's gonna burst at any second. And it was last week of school, and no students were even there. Not for classes, except she skimmed the article before she jabbed a finger at the article. Less than a dozen students, with three year 11 girls injured or killed. I looked over the information. All this proves that at least one of the girls we're working. All this proves is that one of the girls we're working with might have gotten injured, which is all the more reason to be nice to them, don't you think? Okay, but what about the girl who went missing? Are you suggesting that we have a secret missing girl with us too? It's weird as all. These girls, 3 new girls in our class. It was 4 girls and 2 are dead. The other is missing. I fail to see your point. Haruka moved away from me, to pivot her heel and glare. You don't think this is weird at all? The only weird thing is you. What we can do, I agree it's weird. What can we do? I don't know. Exactly. I get where you're coming from, but the 2 girls died and the other 2 are either missing or alive, but deserving of empathy, not accusation. Why would they set a fire to a building and stay in it?
Even then, only one of them could have been there for it. So which is it then? I sighed deeply, my hands pressed to my face. I felt like a rat on a wheel going on the spot non-stop with no real change. Please, let this go. I don't... The funny thing is, me in-game knows what's going on. Or at least, according to what he's being told, knows what's going on. And Haruka wants answers that we have that we won't give to her. The corner of Haruka's mouth twitched tightly, her lashes fluttering. You've been on edge since we met them. There's more to this than just Minami. Just talk to me, please. Haruka worried her thumbnail between her teeth. So, to summarize, a few students passed away and one of them survived. And you want to shake it out of them who went through that traumatic event. Haruka smacked my arm gently, her bottom lip pouted out. When you say it like that, it sounds bad, yeah. I'd feel better to know. Why even hide that? I wouldn't have to be so mean to them if I'd known. You could just be nice. No one is ever nice to me. Except you. She looked at me with an intense glint in her eyes, as if she had something else to say. Whatever she had to say, she kept it quiet. Don't worry about it. Maybe spending time with the other girls had pushed us apart. Time seems to stop and go all at once, but as the bell rings in the distance. We walked in tandem towards the school. The only thing that remained from our conversation beneath the bleachers was the thoughts running through my head. I was glad to have found Haruka earlier. It gave me a chance to catch up with her before class. We sat in silence for most of it, but she seemed more at ease now. She split off for the track field again, and I let her go. I never wanted to crowd her or demand she stay by my side. She had her own interests in the hobby, and I had lunch to eat. I already ate. One muffin isn't a meal, Kana. Oh, hello, Devin. Would you want to join us for lunch? I brought extra, and Yumi usually eats it, but I haven't seen her. In any case, I have food, and it needs to be eaten. With that, Aiko walked over to an empty table to unpack the bento box from her backpack. She pulled out 2 decent-sized boxes filled with rice balls, dumplings, and an assortment of fish and vegetables. Kana stared at the food, and then at Aiko. Where's the sweets, huh? She's picked up one of the inari and stuffed it into her mouth. You get what you get, Kana. I'm surprised you don't have a packed lunch given. She looked at Kana. I have one, but it's really boring, like all vegetables and ugh. She paused to meet my eye. Aiko and I were the weirdo rich kids at Minami. No one called us weirdos. Kana raised an eyebrow at her, her arms crossed on the table in front of her. Maybe not to your face, but they called me a weirdo all the time. Aiko resisted a retort, just barely. She shot a sidelong glance at me, nervous in her pace. I'm sorry, I literally can't read. I'm so tired. I just want to go to bed. You volunteer to tutor delinquents in your free time. That's pretty weird. I'm sorry, that's Kana talking. For the additional... Oh, I didn't see that. Additional credits. And your dad works with my dad. And what does that have to do with anything? Kana shrugged a shoulder, her arms still crossed. People were nice to you for the same reasons they were nice to me. Expensive birthday presents, free lift home, helicopter rides. She snorted loudly. Free food? Aiko pulled her bentos closer protectively. People were nice to me because I was nice. And people weren't that mean to you, were they? Kana shot Aiko an incredulous look. People were nice to me, barely. I had to be a bitch to get them to respect me, though. People eat you alive if you're nice. She grabbed another inari, stuffing the whole thing to her mouth. I think you can win people over by being nice, not that you should win people over. It's an expression. Oh, I'm sorry, it's an expression. She exhaled, looking at me for support. So people treated you both differently because you were rich? Minami School wasn't illustrious by any means. It was actually quite crappy. Aiko shot Kana an annoyed look. It was a lower income school. My parents sent me there in lieu of a private school, as we have family ties to it. My mother went there, and she learned many things within the school. They didn't want me to be spoiled or something like that. They wanted me to get by on my own merit. And I transferred there. Aiko shot Kana a concerned look. I was let go from the school I attended. I didn't even do anything wrong. Ooh, maybe you burnt that one down too, huh? Our parents are friends, so they recommended that Kana join me as I was doing well. Kana toyed with a chopstick as we each worked through the boxed lunches. Why'd you get kicked? Oh, sorry to hear that, Kana. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm not even gonna ask questions. I'm sorry to hear that. Don't be sorry. That school sucked anyway. Everyone was so stuck up. But I joined a class in year 11 and I knew no one. Just Aiko. I made like 2 other friends, but even then, it doesn't even matter. I'm gonna get let out of school and learn psychology and help people. Make sure people can get help. Aiko cleared her throat softly and set us each a smile. We ate in easy silence for a while, with the occasional comment about the quality of the food Aiko had brought. But I felt the question chew at my brain. Were either of you there for the fire? You don't have to answer, but I looked at them both, my elbows set on the edge of the table. Fridge? Huh. I had been there during the week and on the same day, but I don't remember the fire. You probably repressed it, or... She blinked before her eyes shut. She reopened them, uncertain for a moment, then focused on me. I don't think we should talk about that. Ooh, she's being shady. She's being very, very shady. I shrugged a shoulder and my hands raised what does that say? To concede defeat. I wasn't asking to be rude. But it is rude. We aren't here to be interrogated, even if we had good intentions. We deserve better than that. We went through a lot. The unflinching eye contact was enough to push my gaze away, as I took my final piece of salmon. I looked at Kana, unsure why she slid into a defensive stance. She alternated between sweet and strict rapidly. Her voice sounded off, unlike the girl who'd spoken earlier. The bell sounded and lunch ended. Aiko and Kana waved and split off for their afternoon classes. Haruka and I walked home as normal after school. In truth, I was surprised that Aila hadn't come to see me about Kana. She had practically chased me down over that yesterday. I finished up my history paper and a few pages of my math homework. I was thankful science had been so slack with no specific homework given as of yet. We had that class tomorrow, so no doubt that would change. Ah, the group chat. Oh, or not? Oh, it's Aila. Of course it is. Have you talked to Kana yet? No, not yet. I didn't feel comfortable asking her about it. What do you mean? I had to find Haruka first, and then I had lunch with Aiko and Kana. Even after I told you that I needed to spend time with Kana. Of course you'd waste your time with that loser. Ugh. I don't know who you think you are. Tell me who I spend my time with. Don't be so selfish. It's for the safety of the school. I'm not going to pry into her traumas for no reason. If it really mattered to you, you'd go spend time with Kana yourself. She wouldn't be at the school if it was that big of a danger. I don't get why you're acting like she's the victim. She's the one who hears voices and got kicked out of a private school for it. I bet she failed to mention that. She thinks that she's a bunch of people at once. Isn't that insane? You don't even care about the girls she killed through her mental breakdown. Being mentally ill does not make you a killer. It does not. That's true. Being mentally ill does not make you a killer. Whether she hears voices or not, it doesn't matter. You can't use it as proof that she killed someone. Take 2 seconds to look it up. People with whatever that says, or what does that say? Dissociative disorders are usually victims, not killers. No sane person kills people. They do, actually. I'm not stalking Kana on your behalf. End of discussion. Why is Aila so desperate to prove that Kana did something wrong? What does it change? Who set the fire? I know it's important to work out who did it, but if one of the girls started the fire, they almost died in it. So why would they do such a thing? Unless they didn't want to survive it. Ooh, that's the end. Interesting. Hello, this is Hexvex again. Here to inform you that we've reached the end of the playable portion of the current game. I understand that people are eager to see the full story, and I've gotten lots of messages from people on the matter. I intend to officially hiring artists. We got through all this stuff and getting pace. Yeah, I think we already read through all this last video. So yeah, and that's all the same. This is all the same thing. None of this is different, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think with that being said, I'm going to go to the main menu. Let's do it. Okay. So, that was the new version of Beyond You, all the new stuff, and I think, you know, obviously you guys would have already seen this, but I think as of this point in time, I'm going to decide on the fact that I'm just going to cut through all that old stuff that we already went through, because nothing was different in the beginning of the story. I think it's just going to go from, you know, like the new stuff, only because there was just way too much old stuff. It was really repetitive, and it was basically just another episode that we already did. So I wasn't going to bother with that, and we just did all the new stuff, so we'll just go from the new stuff. long story short. But guys, that was an interesting playthrough so far. I really can't wait till the full version of this comes out, because I would love to play through the entire thing. It would be so much fun once the game gets like fully released. It's gonna be the best thing ever. The next best thing ever. Alright, but for now I am going to leave it here. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like to smash that like button, subscribe for new. I love and entertain the channel. Guys, I got a Discord. Come check me outside of YouTube. It's going to be a fun time for all. Hope you guys enjoy this video as much as I did make it. Hope you guys in my next one. Goodbye!